Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry site, and today we're here with Dr. Manuel Da Costa. He is an Associate Director, Outcomes Research with Zoetis. Thanks for being with us today, Manuel.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Very good. And we're here today at IPPE in Atlanta, and it's great to be back and have our, there's a lot of people here today, and it's great to see everybody back at the show. So we're going to talk today a little bit about live vaccine intramuscular usage, specifically more so in Salmonella. And so let's start off there. What's the value of live E. coli and live Salmonella vaccination in poultry production?
Yeah, so both of those diseases are very impactful for poultry production. Salmonella on the food safety side. So, as an industry, we need to guarantee that we provide the best product to our consumers, right? And then E. coli, more on the performance side, where usually long-lived birds, but this also for broilers, might struggle with E. coli. So that's where live bacterial vaccines come in, so specifically live Salmonella Typhimurium vaccine and live E. coli vaccine. So both of these products are mass supplied usually via spray and via drinking water. They share a common technology of attenuation of aroA gene deletion, and what this results in is that these vaccines are given to the birds. Birds are exposed their immune system to this bacteria. They mount an immune response, but the aroA gene deletion makes this bacteria very sensitive to the environment and the immune system, and they fed off. So what we're doing is basically making the birds able to respond to these two challenges in the field.
Very good, very good. And is cross protection an important trait of these vaccines?
Yeah, absolutely. So both Salmonella and E. coli have different colors and shapes. So if you think about Salmonella, the vaccine is a Typhimurium strain, but when you look at the processing plant FSIS data, you see Kentucky coming in. Infantis is an extremely important serotype. Heidelberg, Entry-Titis. So having a vaccine that can not only protect against that specific serotype and can touch all of these other strains from the same family is extremely important. We were just like you're saying here at IPPE, we had the International Poultry Scientific Forum. Yesterday there were some presentations on population of E. coli, and main strain of E. coli is 078, which is the strain of the vaccine. But there's an array of other E. colis like
right.
02 and 025 that are present in the environment. So if these vaccines can work not only on their own serotype but other serotypes is very, very important.
It reduces that overall load, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
very
exactly
good,
right.
Very good. And how can the use of live Salmonella vaccines parenterally help reduce Salmonella in poultry products?
Yeah, so that's a part of the work that we've been doing in the past years. We had some evidence. There's the same strain licensed in Australia, so basically the same vaccine, which has a claim for is a Salmonella Typhimurium with a claim for Salmonella infantis. And this claim comes from intramuscular administration for long-lived birds. So you inject birds intramuscular at about 12 weeks of age, and they have a claim up to 65 weeks of age for Salmonella infantis. So it's a long-lived protection and cross protection, like I was saying, which is very important. So that kind of like triggered our interest, and we start to explore this. So we run several trials to evaluate the feasibility of this strategy. And what we learned was, first of all, we wanted to make sure that it's an easy solution. So we evaluate combinations of these live vaccines with inactivated products, because you want to have the less manipulation of the birds and injections, right? So you want to make it simple. And we observed that when you combine with an inactivated SE and DIB, both products were actually compatible. So from there, we run a few in vivo trials, and what we learned was that when you add these vaccines intramuscularly, you could get further protection compared with the conventional route by mass application, for instance, for Salmonella Heidelberg and for Salmonella enteritis. And what we are seeing is that this protection is a little bit different than the mucosal application. When you give these vaccines, you expect a mucosal response, right. But when you give it parenterally, intramuscularly, you're triggering more a humoral response. So Salmonella is usually present in the ceca, and the vaccine, when it's applied by mass spray or right. water, you have a reduction. But then when you use the parenteral application, where you see the most value is in the organs, where we take liver and spleen samples and respiratory organs, we get a significant reduction from using this vaccine parenterally.
Very good. That's interesting. How can the use of live E. coli vaccines parenterally help poultry producers?
So it's about along the same lines
right.
of the Salmonella. We had data that we generated many years ago that wing web application of live E. coli was actually pretty effective. So we kind of piggyback on the concept of the Salmonella, and we did intramuscular application. We did the same evaluation with combining it with inactivated SC and DIB product. They were compatible, so we moved into bird trials. And in short, when you compare the intramuscular injection with a conventional application by spray eye drop, what we observed was that eye drop does a good job reducing mortality and apex susceptibility, so even pathogenic E. coli susceptibility. That was our challenge model with the 07H strain. But where we get the most out of this is when you look into the final results in terms of air sac lesions, perihepatitis, pericarditis, intramuscular application really reduces all of those lesions. So it gives you a little bit extra when compared with the eye drop. The other thing that we found that was pretty interesting is that we had one treatment in one of the trials where we vaccinate birds one side with the live E. coli and the other one with the inactivated product, and then we did a combination of both. So we mix in the same bottle and we give it to the bird, and the separate injection did a good job, but what we learned was that when you mix both of those products together, you actually get a little bit more, and we think that is related with adjuvant effect of the inactivated vaccines. So you get a better activation of the immune system responding to that E. coli and really improving the efficacy of the products.
Well, that's interesting. Very cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for all the information today. This was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to talk with you.
Very good. You too. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.